we begin our story this evening within the Forge of Fury, and we are immediately following the events of the last game. So there is now a floating green stone sort of orbiting Echo's head that is providing a potentially game-breaking bonus to him. Love it. Excellent.
Rude.
And let's talk a little bit to start with about the immediate reactions after that. I will go ahead and say that Ghost and Calder, you can enter the scene anytime you like, but I would like to start with Echo. What is Echo's first sort of reaction after this thing has been created?
Well, I think he's a little bit like a cat in that he just like, instead of letting it orbit around his head, he starts like following it at first and just like, because he's never seen a magic item like this before. And he just kind of boggles about it, like turns to look at Barnabus and anybody else in the forge. Like, I think he turns to Calder, who is kind of his person he knows as like a magic expert, and like is looking at him big-eyed like, do you see this? It's like floating around my head. What is this?
Now, Gail, tell me, you created this thing to capture the magic that was already radiating out of the stone, and when it first began to rise, it began to glow visibly. Will it continue to glow, or will it dim down? I'm going to leave that up to you.
I think it'll glow dimly for like the first hour that it's like, because kind of, you said it automatically attuned to him, but it'll be glowing for what would normally be the time it would take for it to attune to him, I think.
That sounds good to me.
Nice.
And
It's an ion stone, I can tell you that.
What's an Ioun? I know it's a stone. This is so cool.
Ioun is the goddess of knowledge.
Ion stones are magical relics. They impart blessings and enhancements to the entity that they orbit.
And Barnabas is just wiped. Like he ends the cutting of the stone and just kind of like leans against the forge and like closes his eyes for a moment. And he's not breathing heavily, but he's definitely like the kind of bone weary that you get, for example, when you have a day entirely full of work and then run a D&D session later on that evening. And go ahead.
Echo will clock that he's very tired. Go over to him, hug him, and say, "This thing is great. This is amazing," and give him a kiss on the cheek. Are you okay? Do you need to like sit down?
Your Highness, there is a rest station in the back of the forge.
I do,
you can lie
yes.
down there if you'd like.
And he does make his way to one of the benches, and he sits down for a moment and sort of puts his head in his hands.
I will gently pat the king on the shoulder and cast Catnap.
Hey, new spell.
Can that be resisted? Is it only for willing people?
It's for willing people, but it means you have a short rest in 10 minutes as opposed to an hour.
He will actually shake it off. He does not have 10 minutes to spare at the moment, he feels. And
as opposed to the hour.
Yes. And in fact, as you begin to cast the spell, one of Barnabas's messengers enters the forge through the teleportation circle, which isn't in front of you, so you wouldn't know that anyway, but sort of comes up and whispers something into his ear, and he looks over and he nods. He says, "Are you sure? Okay. Has anyone woken Sven up yet? He would be the best one to talk to about this." Okay. Go wake him up, bring him here, and we can check it out.
I have been... It's been a busy ass night. I did come... I had an eventful evening. After I was done, sleeping.
So, there is some news, and I will, Calder, gratefully accept your offer of rest in just a moment, because it'll take them some time to track down Sven and wake him up. Apparently, our messengers from Mirabar have not checked in. Their job was, after the end of the full moon, to send us some sort of message and let us know that they were safe. And they have not done so. and no one seems to be able to contact anyone there.
I know the address of I know the symbols of the teleportation circle in Marabar. We can go there immediately.
Let's see what Sven has to say first. He can see things at a distance, and he can tell us whether or not it's safe to use the teleportation circle. This could be nothing, or it could be disastrous. So I think we should wait on this. So I will accept your offer of rest at this time, and then we can move forward from there.
All right, lie down.
And he'll kind of curl up next to the forge, where it's nice and warm. Yeah, exactly. And he will.
There's just a little flicker of magic as Calder snaps his fingers and zonked out like a light.
And I am going to go ahead and play our pre-recorded segment at this point because Kreetha is still with us and we have a scene to run. This will run for about 35 minutes. I had it edited a little bit, but then my file somehow vanished. So you get to see it more or less completely unedited. We're going to go ahead and do that. So we'll be back in just about 35 minutes.
All right.
As soon as I find the right thing.
Bye later.
I like to imagine in the background, Echo's just kind of like doing flips and moving really quick to see if the thing keeps up with it.
Just as an unrelated note, before Sven shows up on screen, I have stuff to do with Sven that I'd like to do before he wanders over to the rest of the party.
No problem. Also, Gale, I'm just curious because the Ion Stone can orbit your head from 1 to 3 feet away. How close or far away is the stone from Echo?
I think even if he's not realizing that he can determine that, he's keeping it as close as possible. So he's treating it like an accessory rather than like a magic item.
It's slowly skidding around his head.
Fair enough. Okay.
Wearing a groove.
Assuming everything works properly, which is a big assumption for this particular stream, we should be able to take the next 30 minutes or so and just relax and watch the fun. We'll be right back. Point as you are resting. Kevin Bonewolf makes an appearance near the north door there and kind of beckons to Echo and Kreetha, asking them to sort of come aside and away from Barnabus, who is still sort of hovering over the forge and catching his breath.
Is he being sneaky about it? Is he just open there like, hey, Echo? Or is he like, come over here?
It's not like super duper sneaky, but definitely he's not attempting to alert Barnabus directly.
I do have a slight side question. Was that the first chance that Barnabas got to use the forge?
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, because I think he maybe didn't have time to do any forging with Kreetha and Vic and stuff in the preparations because he had so many other preparations. So, that makes that even more.
Yeah, I do believe it was.
All right. So, yeah, we can clock that he's trying not to be too obvious about it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, Echo will, stand up, walk with Kreetha over to where he's beckoning.
Like, are you okay? It can take it out of you very much.
I feel jazzed. I feel like I'm running on like 10 different
Don't run
cups of
too
coffee
hard.
right
You
now.
still have cracked ribs.
As a reminder to the viewers, Echo now has a pale green stone sort of orbiting his head and providing a possibly game-breaking bonus to his stats. So again, Kevin Bonewolf doesn't do sneaky. Yeah? Kevin Bonewolf is not a subtle creature. So he is kind of, he pulls you up into this upper room up here. And he looks a little bit conflicted at first, but he looks to Kreetha and says, Madam Seneschal, I guess? Madam Regent? I think is the right title.
Lady Regent, but honestly, you know me, Kevin. It's Kreetha.
Well, I'm approaching you with this and not King Barnabas because this is your place, not his. And it's a little outside of the chain of command, but while the full moon was happening and while you were engaged in whatever you were engaged in, The other two and I, we caught some folks trying to sneak into the forge. We thought it was going to be an attack of some sort. They were goblins after all, but it turned out to just be a small group. And they asked for you by name.
Me by name.
Goblins?
Yes, it was tough to understand them. Their accents were very, very thick.
Very thick, like my accent. Very thick.
Except that I can actually understand more than one every 2 or 3 words from you. For them, it was very difficult. And I don't think that they are our enemies to the north. I don't think.
It was just them, right? No orcs, no werewolves or anything with them, just the goblins?
Yeah, there were 4 of them. They looked very tired and they looked like they'd been through some stuff, but it definitely did not look like part of the enemy army.
But they approached from, like, the Glitterhame?
We don't know exactly where they got in from, to be honest. We caught them roaming the halls in the Citadel.
Oh, so they got past you.
Assuming they came in that way, sure.
I do have suspicion.
If I had to guess, I'd say they probably came up through Nightscale's lair.
Well, I mean, Nightscale was out doing runs, so it wasn't exactly as guarded as usual. It's still a hell of a long swim.
I put them in the storage closet because we don't have a proper jail. So I went ahead and put them in the storage closet and locked it.
There's like 10 different closets just in these 4 rooms here. Which closet?
Oh, the one to the far side near the pool that had all the bodies. Yes, you do recognize that there is a particular item that has been stored in this closet recently.
Oh shit, wait. Is that where you put the rug?
I put it in with the rug.
Oh shit. Like Echo just goes running off to that door.
Kreetha kind of starts walking really dejectedly and then kind of quickens in a very much she doesn't actually want to go kind of run. You know,
as you begin
can almost hear under her breath, but it's very much in very Choltean goblin. There's like, I really hope that I'll just kind of took care of them. I mean, if they just eat it and then I don't have to deal with it. I mean, maybe some cleanup and like you, I don't even know if you can hear that because it's kind of under her breath. It may be that nobody can hear it and she's just, but it's definitely in Cholte's goblin. So it's like not quite, it's very, all right. Okay, you guys went up okay, so if I do too fast, I can't see anything.
As you begin to make your way out there, and I'm going to go ahead and jump back to the in-game table. As you begin to make your way out there, it was the last one on the right north. It's, yeah.
Right.
So Kevin, as well as Bevan and Matthew, begin to like fall in behind him, and they fall in behind you. So it is the 2 of you and the 3 rugged tumble werewolves making their way towards the storage closet, wondering what's going to be on the other side.
This one, right? Above
Yes,
Echo.
that's the one. And Kevin Bone Wolf sort of procures the key and turns the lock and opens the door.
Are there sounds of being strangled?
So, no. However, when you walk in, there are 3 goblins sort of to the west side of the room, like backed up against the wall, looking at the carpet, still rolled up, but now there is a female goblin's like head and neck sticking up out of the roll of the carpet, not being smothered, not being harmed, just being restrained. And Jen, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but it is your family. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what these particular goblins look like? I know that your particular Cholte's clan of goblins are much more amphibious looking.
Amphibious, yeah, we're more swampy. So we've got what, 3 males and a female, right? And
Yes.
the female is currently being restrained.
And you recognize her as one of
Yep.
the premier trackers of your clan, much
Yeah.
like yourself.
Yeah. So she's another ranger. She just didn't get the job I got. All right. So you're seeing, Kreetha tends to dress a lot in like she's dressing in browns and yellows and like greens and swampy kind of colors. Although has been like, I'm still wearing this, but she definitely has been, with all the cold, been wearing more goblin or more dwarven colors and stuff because of the things that so I'm assuming while I'm in this, I'm assuming that she's actually in the cold weather gear that we talked about. So she's in dwarven finery that's been made to work for a goblin of her stature and her station. So she looks good. So you've got the three goblins, the male goblins. You will actually see that they sort of have some features in common with Kreetha. They're all going to be varying shades all of 4 of them are going to be varying shades of blondish. So sometimes it's going to be more green, sometimes it's going to be more brown or red, but they're all varying shades of blonde with the green and the stuff. And their clothing would be fairly like, mix of leather, lots of scale hide, and stuff like that. And quilted jerkins and things like that. And definitely you'll see different, like some dinosaur looking motifs going on, and some very interesting patterns, but also you'll see like Kreetha's got Stinky on her, so you'll see frogs, you'll see some very interesting lizards and stuff like that. Just lots of different stuff. They should all look to a goblin to be, I don't want to say well off, but like well appointed. Like they are appointed for their job, in the same way that Kreetha was.
And as you enter the room, the 3 male goblins, which initially had their spears pointed at the carpet, turn and point their spears at the 2 of you and give a sort of look of at first confusion and then recognition. And the female goblin up north looks down at all of you because she's up high at the moment.
Oh, the rug's like upright.
Yes, it's
like
leaning against essentially the corner of the room.
That's the best image, and I really want to see you draw it.
And she looks down, and in extremely like accented goblin, she says, "Kreetha, it has been a great deal of time. Have they captured you as well? What have you been up to this whole time?" And she looks sort of balefully at the obviously different goblin Echo. And like you get the sense that she immediately has made a judgment that Echo is the lackey of whatever it is that owns this citadel, and that Kreetha has been somehow captured as well.
I actually have a stupid, dumb question. That's not a stupid, dumb question. I am the lady regent of this place. I have the ability to command that rug now.
You absolutely do, yes.
Yeah. So,
you know the word.
What are we going to call her? I didn't give them any names, but they need to be similar sounding to Kreetha. Like, I should have gone through like a Russian website or something.
So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that the female's name is Sharfa, Sharfa.
Like Sharfa. Sharfa's a fantastic name.
And the 3 male soldiers, their names don't matter.
Yeah.
They're just lackeys. You might not even know them. You know they're distant relations, but you probably don't necessarily remember them. It turns out that your particular clan of goblins out in Chult breed very quickly. There's nobody that could keep track of all of the family that you've got out there.
Oh, no.
When you're in an area where everything is a predator, one of the best sort of evolutionary advantages is being able to multiply quickly.
multiply quickly. Yep.
For all you know, some of these might have been like just barely born when you left because you've been gone for a little while now.
Been gone for a little while, and time is very
She hasn't been gone
goblins.
for a full year yet, though. That's
not a
like
full
quick.
year, but so much has happened in a full year is actually a large amount of time, especially for predated.
So Sharfa is looking sort of balefully down at Echo and at Kreetha. She clearly is looking down on Kreetha, not just literally, but like as though she does not have the level of respect for Kreetha that the rest of you have come to have.
So Kreetha is looking up, and she commands in Dwarven, because it's a Dwarven rug. Rug, release her.
It immediately does so. Not cleanly.
No.
Not cleanly.
I didn't give it
It unrolls itself. But
Yeah.
it doesn't unroll itself from the middle. It unrolls itself from the outside, leading to her spinning, and then
That's
dumping her
fantastic.
dizzy onto the ground.
Fantastic. I love that.
You said the 3 on the side of the
Oh, yeah, they're
of their
pointing, and
spears.
Yes.
pointing
Kreetha's
towards
just
Kreetha.
not even looking at them at this point.
Echo is going to whisper back out of the room. What the fuck, Kevin? You didn't take their fucking weapons?
I did. I have no idea how they got them back. I didn't even store them in here.
Jesus.
Kreetha?
Hello, Sharfa. Why are you here?
You know very well why I am here. You abandoned your post. You abandoned your mission. Did you think I would not find you? Your
Yes.
father is very, very angry.
I suppose he would be.
This
Are you
is so
the only
far.
one?
This is... Are you the only one? Where are your companions? Where are the rest who left with you? Did you get them killed?
They perished, yes.
Of course they did.
perished in the depths of the forge.
I
And
told...
I was the only one to survive.
I told them that you were the wrong goblin for the job. I told them, and they did not listen to me. Come, Kreetha, it is time to go home. And she begins to walk out as though she's going to just brush past the two of you and walk out into the hall.
I'm watching Kreetha for her body language. Are you, like, as she takes a step towards you, are you shrinking away?
For
Are
a moment, she does start shrinking, because there is kind of a, like,
that ingrained muscle memory?
that ingrained muscle memory. I almost feel like she's going to shrink until she feels maybe Durgadin in the back of her head.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna do any dialogue from him, but you definitely feel his presence in the back of your mind, like reminding you that not only do you have him,
Yeah.
not only do you have Echo and the 3 werewolves outside,
Right outside.
Mhm.
but this entire citadel, including the parts, by the way, that haven't been rediscovered yet, is at your beck and call.
Yeah.
So Durgadin
so I-
is
I
more
shrink
amused
a
than
bit.
anything.
Kreetha shrinks a bit and then steps in front of her and goes, "No, you are not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. You will stand here and tell me exactly how you got into the citadel with those 3. Put those down."
Give me an intimidation check, please. I'm going to go
I'm
ahead and
using-
give you a +2.
Using command.
Oh, even better.
Fuck yes.
So command only affects 1. So go ahead and make your intimidation check anyway for the other 2. But
Up against it?
I will roll a save for that. Yeah, so the one that you command absolutely fails its save. It's only a 1-word command though. So what is your 1-word command?
I guess down. I don't know.
Disarm is a possibility.
Disarm. Yeah, disarm.
So
So intimidation with advantage, you said?
with a +2.
With a +2. Yeah, I had
She
that.
uses a 3rd level spell slot. She can hit all 3. It can
Oh
go.
yeah. Then I got him. So yeah,
Perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna say
So, yeah,
that
I
one.
just yell and say, disarm.
I'm gonna say that one saving throw was for all three of them. So like almost without their even realizing it, suddenly there are three spears on the ground, and they look down at their hands and down at the floor, as if seeing them for the first time.
I want to do a real bullshit monk thing right now. I want to use Echo's super fast monk speed to zip over there and grab all three spears and shove them in his own bag.
I love that.
Awesome.
So that he goes all the way around and is standing there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So they drop them, and again, Sharfa has a bit of a strange, like, she turns to look at the other three, and she says in Goblin something along the lines of, "What are you three doing, you cowards?" She turns back to look at you. She pulls herself up to her entire height, which is ever so slightly taller than Kreetha, but not like tall.
Yeah.
And she says, "You are a nobody, remember? You are a nothing. You have no authority over me. You will come with me. We will return home, and you will answer for your crimes."
I have no authority over you. I am a nobody. Perhaps that was true when I left. But here, that is not true. Here, this is my citadel. I am Lady Regent of the Forge.
For the first time, Sharfa actually turns around and looks at Echo. And, like, Echo's, for a goblin, is Echo tall, short? What's Echo's body language looking like right now, also?
Right now, he's standing behind her, and he's watching Kreetha mostly for, like, a signal from Kreetha if he needs to, like, unleash on this person. But when she turns around, Echo, he's 3'3", so he's a little tall for a goblin, so he's probably, like, maybe an inch or a half inch taller than her. And he's staring down at her, and she looks at him, and he smiles and shows off all of those shark teeth at her. You're not on your home turf anymore.
Have you both hit your head? This is a dwarven citadel. What? Guards outside perhaps take these two away? I believe they are clearly mad. Kevin just sticks his head in, looks down at Kreetha, and says, "Everything okay?"
Everything is fine. We are merely having a conversation. If I need you, I will call. I appreciate you. Thank you.
He bows and withdraws. And now you see the first sort of cracks in the resolve of Sharfa as this monstrously large, sort of very, very intimidating human steps back and accedes to your authority.
You have not been here. You don't know what's been happening here. My father doesn't know what's been happening here. He has been tossed out of the game before he even laid down his first piece. There is more here than what a small goblin tribe can even remotely think to claim.
A small goblin tribe? What? She begins to sort of gawp a little bit. And like, you know how frogs are sometimes? They're like, ah, ah, ah. And she's trying to make words. But finally everything sort of clicks together. And she says, "Kreetha, what have you done?"
I have only done what needed to be done. For everyone. Everywhere. There is too much for you to even comprehend here. I want you to tell me how you got in the Citadel. Every step. And if there are others coming as well, other trackers, other ones. And then you are to go home. as fast as your feet can take you. And you will tell my father, and have him tell others, that this is no longer their domain to stick their noses into.
Now that's an intimidation check, and that's with advantage, please.
Skills. I wish I actually had intimidation, but I have advantage, so okay, thank God.
Hey.
Not bad.
Yeah, like I always get real worried about doing any of the charisma based stuff because like she has a -1 on charisma.
Yes, but you're also dealing with an opponent who also has a low charisma. So you give your command, and she stops. And again, like, you can see the gears turning in her head, and you can see the exact moment when she realizes she's out of her element. And she describes an offshoot of the original tunnel that Charlotte and Lore were going to attempt to use to exit the Forge of Fury back during that module.
One, if I remember, that's the one that I and the other goblins came in to begin with, which I figured, would be around the one.
Yes. They describe sneaking past the orcish sentries easily because they are big and lumbering and stupid, and making their way to that tunnel. They didn't use the same entrance to the tunnel. It turns out it does branch off here and there, which is information, of course, that the Dwarven architects who are currently working on sealing the citadel will definitely want to know. Yeah. So one more entrance to plug up. And she finishes, and again, as she's speaking, her voice sort of becomes lower, and she starts to sweat a little bit. And finally, she tries to salvage some of her dignity. And she says, yes, I will return to the clan, and I will tell them what you have done, and they will come. And she can't even finish the sentence because this is going to be a nigh impregnable dwarven fortress. She seems to realize that the threat is useless as she's attempting to make it.
You tell them if they wish to come. They will come. And they will come against the Lady Regent Kreetha and King Barnabus. You wish to come against two? You wish to come against those who have armies? All right, now tell me something. Mm-hmm. Do you have provisions? Do you have the ability to get home? Do you need food, water, tents?
She straight up spits on the ground at your feet. She says, "This land is soft. Yes, we can survive. We can survive Chult, something that perhaps you have forgotten with your..." And she like gestures at the very fine clothing that Kreetha has on. "Your finery. You have become soft. We shall make our own way." And she's gonna again try to brush past you, but you get to tell me how that goes.
Kreetha, as she's trying to brush past, say, "Kevin?"
He'll stick his head in.
"Will you and the others please escort manually our friends out of the Citadel?"
"Oh, it would be my great pleasure."
Before Kevin manages to step into the room to put a hand on Shartha, Echo grabs Shartha and slams her against the wall right next to it there. Holds her there and leans in real fucking close and says, "If you ever talk to my sister like that again, I'll crush your skull." And he punches the wall next to her hard enough to shatter the stone.
Now, Echo. It's all right. It's all right. We don't need shows of force here.
I don't know. I think she understood that one. Lets her go.
Kevin?
And with that, suitably chastened, and with all three of the rugged tumble werewolves right on their heels, they make their way out of the Citadel. Is there anything else you want out of this scene before we go ahead and return to those of us who are playing live?
So she doesn't leave quite yet. So she's standing there and Echo's over there after Kevin and the wolves have left. I knew my family was coming for me, but I didn't expect for them to actually come into the forge in the middle of war. Like,
Yeah, that was either the
I
stupidest
don't
move or the
understand.
smartest one to come in last night.
Well, I mean, nobody was looking where they were. That is what we are trained to do. That you slip in through the cracks. You live in the tall grass. You don't make yourself noticed.
I'm glad to see that you've moved past that. Grown past it.
I want to say I've grown past it. I think I am still going to be dealing with it. There is a small possibility, and it is not that small, that we may see at one point the land side of Chult try and come up against us. I must definitely let Barnabus know.
Yeah, but
that
you
is
know,
a possibility. It
It's-
would be bad if it came at the wrong time.
it would
But
be.
I don't think that they could muster enough in time. And as much Sharfa talks about being soft in these clothes, they don't know the cold. I am only just learning the cold. I don't know the cold. It kills. I know that.
Well, and you know, a party of 4 goblins can sneak in and across a continent. If they try to come with any sort of force, everyone between us and them is going to see them coming.
They are going to notice. That's fair. Yes, they would notice. But my father, for whatever intelligence he has, can also be a little stupid. So once things are settled a little more, perhaps we should think about having some scouts range out on some things, possibly moved and checked. Perhaps
after we save the world here and stop, the fucking crazy druids and whatnot trying to eat the planet, I'm not quite sure. We're still figuring that out. But like, once all that's over, you want to go and like kick your dad's ass, I'll come with you.
I just cannot with this. I mean, I know they don't understand because I wouldn't have understood it. We were all so different, and I mean, admittedly, I did the thing that she accused me of doing. I left. I did not go back with the information. I did not do my spying. I just went, oh, yay, and went off. That's true.
You mean you didn't hurry back to the place where people call you nothing?
I did not.
I think that might be the best decision you've ever made in your life.
I definitely like it here much more. Even with all the... Well, speaking of which, I think we should perhaps go check on Barnabus. He cannot be any less tired than you. He helped, and that's... The Forge... The Forge asks a lot from those who use it. And I know you are very tired. So
I
let's
don't know
get
what y'all
settling.
talking about. I'm so excited. I want to go show off this
Oh,
rock
you're
to more people.
excited, but you're going to fall like a stone soon, except for the one buzzing around your head. Is it going to make noise? Like, are you going to lay down and it's going to go tink, tink? Oh, if you lean in to kiss him, is it going to hit him in the crowd? Tink, tink, tink.
Let's go find out.
Oh my god!
And he runs out of there.
And with that, we return to our friends in the Forge of Fury. And let's talk a little bit about what happens while Kreetha and Echo are gone.